everyone. So today's video is going to be a little bit different because for the end of January and the beginning of February, I was actually in South Africa for a wedding. And then literally the day after I got back to Scotland, my mom left for South Africa and she's gone for a month to visit in South Africa as well. So my dad actually likes to fly microlights, and the wind and stuff is much better in South Africa at the moment for flying microlights. So that's why my parents have gone back for that. But my mom and I are not actually together at the moment, so we can't really do sort of a traditional podcast knitting video for you. But I have collected a bunch of videos from my holiday and some photos, and my mom's going to add some photos, and then we're just going to kind of have this sort of compilation podcast this time, but then hopefully soon we'll be back to the regular content.
So we left a very snowy Scotland off to go to South Africa for a friend's wedding, and I took with me some knitting which I usually keep for the car, but I took it on the plane, and I did take it with me through security onto the actual plane to knit, and I did not have any problems. So these are the socks that I'm working on, and you might recognize them from quite a while ago. They're kind of like, I called them my car socks because I always knit on them when I was in the car, but then I also knit on them while we were at the airport, and I've been knitting on them a bit. Usually I'll finish a pair of socks in like maybe 3 or 4 days. So this is actually quite a long time for me to be working on a pair of socks. This is the second sock. The other sock is not here right now. It's upstairs. But it's very hot right now. Oh, now there's an airplane going over. Hang on. So yeah, it's pretty hot, so I've just been knitting like a little bit at a time, like maybe a couple of rows, and then I stop because it is very hot right now. But I do think I'll be finished this pair of socks by the end of the week. Today, we've been in Cape Town for just over a week. It's now Tuesday, so yeah, just over a week. So we've got about a week and a half left to go. So I do think I will finish these socks and start another pair, but they are very slow going. So Cape Town currently has something called load shedding, where you have scheduled periods throughout the day that you do not have electricity. And so this neck torch that husband bought me for Christmas for knitting in the dark was super useful. Husband and I also went for a walk in one of our favourite places to walk in Cape Town, and we wore our short summer socks, which lots of people have been asking me, both in Scotland and in Cape Town, like, why would you wear wool socks in summer? And honestly, I feel like I should do a whole little episode dedicated to this, because wool socks just are the best. But no, we weren't too hot, and no, our feet didn't get too sweaty. It was great. As you can see, I finished my previous sock and I've started a new one. This is the first sock of the pair, and these are for my mom. This is some yarn that was previously used for another sock, but we had enough left over to do some short socks. So these are summer socks based on the Rosa D roller pattern. I'm not really following the pattern, but just that idea of having the roll at the top. And then there's just some random like regia that I'm using for the heel, but it's not really, I don't know, I bought it in some like a pack of leftovers, so I don't actually know the details of it. And these are going to be for my mom. She chose the colors, and this is, I don't know if I mentioned, this is the Signet Truly Rich wool rich, truly wool rich. It's a tongue twister for me. And so yeah, these I'm just knitting for my mum. I did have to stop knitting the socks for my mom because I realized that I'd accidentally left her foot cut out at home in Scotland, and for my mom I find that I get the best fit for her lengthwise if I use her foot cut out rather than laying it down and measuring it to a specific centimeter length. I don't know why, but for her the foot cut out just works the best. So I put those aside. I just knit until I would need to start the toes, and then I just stopped so I could measure it at home, and I started a new pair of socks for one of my aunts. I had a wonderful day where I went with my mother-in-law and my husband, and we went to a yarn store called Natural Yarns. It's in Imhoff's Farm, which you might know if you're from Cape Town. Otherwise, it's just a lovely place to go. And I got to meet one of the dyers of one of my favorite South African yarns, which is Lily Rose, and I have some pictures of some of the beautiful yarn, and I actually sent pictures back to my friends in Scotland and, well, basically all over the UK, and said, hey, if you guys would like to purchase some, then I can bring it across for you. So I sent the pictures, I bought some stuff for myself, and then I went out for lunch with my family, and then I came back after lunch and bought the yarn that my friends had asked for. So here's some lovely pictures. So while I was away in South Africa, my mom was back in Scotland looking after the cats, and she decided to try out some natural dyeing, and she actually dyed all of these garments using turmeric. And I believe she pre-soaked them in milk, which would act to kind of help the turmeric and the fabric take up the turmeric color. But these are some of her experiments, and I believe she's very excited to continue her experiments when she gets back to Scotland. And she's got lots of ideas. Apparently you can change the colors depending on whether you soak it in something that's a base or something that's an acid, and you can get quite interesting colors. This is all natural dyeing that my mom wants to do, and so she's quite excited to try these out.
So as you can see, it's a little bit colder here than where I was on holiday. So lots of hand knits and bundled up warm, but I just wanted to run you through the projects that I knit on quickly, and the sort of progress I made. So we'll start with these socks. So I'd actually started these socks a little bit beforehand. I was on the first sock and I think I was just past the heel maybe, or maybe I was on the heel, and so these are a very pretty pair of socks, and I finished these while I was on holiday in South Africa. So the contrast heels, cuffs and toes are in the colorway Licorice by West Yorkshire Spinners. It's just one of their signature 4-ply sock yarns. And this beautiful self-striping yarn here is called Butterfly, and it is by King Cole in their Zigzag 7525, which is their sock yarn. And I knit this on 2.5mm needles on an 80cm cable, magic loop style, and these are a pair of socks for myself. Then the next sock that I cast on was supposed to be for my mom. I mean, it is going to be for my mom. And she wants a pair of shorty rolled socks for summer. So I started these, but then while I was away, I realized that I had not brought my my foot cut out for my mom. So if you don't know what I mean by foot cut out, when I have someone that I knit socks for regularly, I like to trace their foot, and then I will make a cardboard cutout of their foot that I can then pop into the work, and then I'll know how much I need to knit before I start the toes. So let me just show you. So as you can see here, there's a very faint line, but there's a line here that I've drawn kind of just where the toes start. And so that's where I would usually knit up to before I start the toes. So I knit this one kind of till I thought maybe I was close to the toes, and then I stopped and I set it aside because I needed to have this foot tracing, which I had unfortunately left in Scotland and I was in South Africa, so there's no way I was going to be able to get that. So these are kind of waiting. So because I still obviously had to have something to knit on while we were doing car trips or visiting with people, I cast on this pair of socks, and these are a pair of socks for one of my aunts. And let's give you a close up. Oops, I don't know, maybe I need my face out of the way. And then I am kind of here. I'd actually, when I got back to Scotland, I was just kind of starting the heel. So this little bit here I've actually done since I've got back from holiday, but I did the other kind of leg and cuff while I was on holiday, and also while I was on the plane flying back from South Africa to Scotland. So these are, the main colour that I'm using is the James C. Brett Funny Feets. It's a 4-ply sock yarn, and the colour, it doesn't seem to have a colour, but it's shade FZB0, FZB08. And then the contrast, which you can actually barely see, it matches so well. This contrast is actually a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, which I have left, but I'm pretty sure it's the Blackcurrant Bomb, maybe. I'll have to check that one for you. I think it's the Blackcurrant Bomb, but it's one of the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply sock yarns. And so that is what I knit on while I was away and what I'm finishing now. And I do have quite a few projects that I need to cast on soon. I have some projects to finish hopefully by May. I need to finish those socks for my aunt by May because she lives in South Africa. I have a shawl that I'd like to finish by May because I'm knitting one for my mother-in-law, and she actually came and bought the yarn with me while we were in Cape Town. We went to the Natural Yarns. You'll have seen this already, but we went to the Natural Yarns yarn shop, and she chose and bought some yarn for me to knit her another shawl, which I love knitting for people. And then I also want to knit a pair of socks for my father-in-law. I took some foot tracing and some measurements and stuff while I was in South Africa, so I'd like to do that. I still need to choose some yarn, and I'm not sure if I'm going to buy some yarn or if I have some in stash. I'll have to have a look. But those are sort of like solid plans that I should have done by May when I go back again for my sister's wedding celebration. But I do have some other projects that I would like to work on, but we'll see if I have time. So I hope you enjoyed this little compilation video that we've put together for you, and if you did enjoy, please like and subscribe so that you can find this video in the future, and you'll find more videos like it because we do update fairly regularly, hopefully, fingers crossed, and so you'll find more videos when we do update if you've subscribed. So other than that, I hope you have a wonderful time, stay crafty, bye!